Welcome back. Today I've got a really cool bass to show you. This is an old bass. This is a vintage, all original 1960 P bass, of course. Now, I say all original because everything's on original except the finish on the body. The bass is in outstanding shape, and I suspect the only reason someone would finish a body on a bass like this is because probably it had been stripped. That was a real popular thing in the 70s, going into the 80s, was to take the finish off your old Fenders. I did that on 2 basses, and of course today they'd be worth, 20 times more than what they are now if I'd left the original finish on. But this is a gorgeous axe. It's classic P bass. It's fairly light. I think this one's 8 pound 1 ounces. The wood just gets older, gets drier. It's got a very common, very normal sound feel of the neck. I'll write some specs below and tell you how thick and how thin it is. I've got a lot of stuff written down, but I forget it. It's just a cool bass. And the main thing is it has that vibe. Not just in how it feels, because it feels old, but it has that sound. And the truth is that sound of old is somewhat inconsistent. Meaning the pickups, the actual windings, with the current going through them for as many years as I have, they sort of slow down, lose their resistance. Sometimes the winding in those days wasn't as even. But that's just part of the charm of it. Every one of them has their own unique sound. Perhaps they're not exactly even across the strings or from high to low. But I only buy old basses to play them. I'm not a real collector in that sense, that I don't like a bass just because it looks old and terrible and is worth more. No, I want a bass that's a player. So this bass plays wonderfully well. It actually was refinished by Fiesta Finish. Paul McKenzie, he's just the best at it in my opinion. And it's a good bass. I'll also put some pictures up, some real close-up stuff in here. What else can I tell you? Unbelievably dark, old rosewood fingerboard. Back of the neck is in pretty good shape. It's original. And it's got all sorts of scrapes and dents and stuff, but it's still, it's very playable. Electronics are all original and they're still good. Again, I'll show you some pictures of the insides of the basses too. I've taken pictures of those. I'm just real proud, to own this bass. I'm happy that I have. I've recorded with it a few times, and oh my God, it has that sound, that feel. Sometimes I put the mutes in to get a little foam to get that Jamerson sound. Other times play as it is, but it just sounds old, dark, real warm, and just kind of meaty and that old thing, I'll put a link up too to where I've done a audio video demo of it, and you can watch that. But here's my 1960p, all in black. And of course this tortoise pickguard. Oh, I'll tell you something cool about this. This nitrate material they made it out of, it shrinks over the time. So all around the edge of this pickguard, you may not be able to see it here, I'll put up some pictures, is, just a little bit, 32nd or a 16th of an inch, the metal piece that was underneath it. There's a big slab of metal underneath it. It was for hum purposes in the pickup. It's a little bit wider than the actual pickguard itself. It's shrunk, and that's common. That's totally common in this era. That's one where you can tell if some of the vintage basses from this era, if they're real or not. Have they done that? Some people put old-looking pickups on, or old-looking pickguards on, but this is a real one. Other than that, it's just fun. Oh, these black strings, I use these a lot on my vintage-sounding basses. These are Labella. And I forget what they're called other than tape wound. They're big. They're, 60 through, I think 62 actually, 62 through 115. And they just feel and sound right to me for this era of the bass. Fired up.